Hello everyone. Good evening. Good evening all of you. Good evening everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. I'm Saral Nashier today again with you with our next session, which is about TISSNET. So before I start, let me just have it from you that is all okay. Am I clearly audible? Am I clearly visible? Is all okay on that end? Operational issue should not be there, I think. So if that is fine, after that we'll start with our today's session. So what are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about the QA section that is there in TISSNET, and of course I'll be talking about TISSNET 2022, which is going to be there in February now, right? So many of you would have already applied for TISSNET, especially the people who want to do their MBA in HR, because we generally say that for HR, probably after XLRI, which is the god of HR, the second best college in India is Tata Institute of Social Sciences. So that's the best thing. So please confirm once is all okay. Then after that, we'll start with the today's session. Hi, Rohit Kumar Ronak. Very good evening. Good evening from Bihar. Okay, good evening from Haryana as well. Hi, good evening, Abhishek Chatterjee, and me and my backpack. So what a name. So good evening to you as well. So tomorrow I have mock BI session with you, sir. Looking forward to it. I am also looking forward to it, Abhishek Chatterjee. So somehow I really recognized you by your DP because the same photo you have given in your CAT admit card as well, right? So I saw it there. Yes, so if all is okay, we can start with our session. So now we are talking about TISSNET today. Okay, so of course I'm not going to talk about the course, what exactly is there in the course, and you already have seen that. Pranav sir took a session about that a few days back. You can find it on BYJU'S exam prep channel as well, where he talked about all of the courses which are there in TISS, and the exam structure and everything. So today I'm going to specifically talk about the QA section. Okay, so when I talk about TISS, this is an exam we generally look forward for HR, right? Now, when you want to do your post graduation in HR, I hope many of you would be knowing this, that TISS actually is not giving you a degree of MBA, it gives you a degree of MA. Of course, the value of that MA in HR would be somehow better than many of the MBAs because it's a very prestigious college, and the course structure is extremely well. So therefore, generally we can say that their HR MA in HR might be better than many MBAs. Now, normally when we talk about a person who is going in HR, generally we feel that should he be very good at mathematics? Is that needed? I mean, if you are doing it in finance or marketing, somehow the mathematics can be used over there, or you are doing it in operations, so somehow it can be used there. But when we talk about HR, when we talk about organizational behavior, so some of these traits are those in which it is not extremely necessary to have a score like having a good knowledge of mathematics. So therefore only TISSNET actually takes that into account, and they takes care of it. They generally don't ask you very difficult questions based upon tests, based upon mathematics. So we just talk about that session now. I'll start with that. The first thing is, let us just understand what is the exam structure, what all is going to be there in the exam, and through that we'll try to understand the importance of this QA and LR section over here. So we have three sections. One is English proficiency, which has got 30 marks. Okay, QA and LR, which again has got 30 marks, and general awareness, which is of 40 marks. So here when I say English proficiency of 30 marks, that means 30 questions of it. Okay, similarly 30 questions of it, 40 questions of it. So basically every question is of 1 mark. So there are 100 questions of 100 marks. जितने questions है exactly उतने ही marks हो गए हैं आपके पास. So 100 questions of 100 marks are there. Out of those, 30 questions are there from QA and LR. So of course, I hope all of you can calculate that much of percentages, that 30% is the weightage of this section. important. Of course it is important, but as I said, difficulty level की अगर मैं बात करता हूँ, it is not that difficult. When we talk about TISSNET, they would not be asking you very difficult questions from this. I mean, with respect to the questions which are there in general awareness, especially because that is probably the toughest part of your TISSNET. वहां पे क्वेश्चंस जो हैं थोड़ा सा ज्यादा डिफिकल्ट लगेंगे, एंड स्पेशली व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट जनरल अवेयरनेस, आई फील इन टिसनेट द फाइनल कट ऑफ who is going to clear it, that is normally decided by this section, because of course when you talk about general awareness, no one is god that who can score a 40 out of 40, because general awareness is such a huge topic. There is a possibility that even if you have studied everything, you might not be able to answer a question, right? But of course that is not the case with Q and LR for sure, and that's not the case with English proficiency as well sometimes. But at least Q and LR is one area in which you can aim for something like 30 out of 30, right? There it is possible. Even it is possible in English proficiency, but there also sometimes subjectivity would be there in some of the questions. But Q and LR mein to it is definitely possible to score 30 out of 30. But as I said, general awareness is the best part in this. And yes, as Abhishek Chatterjee is also saying, this is the best part of this exam probably, that there is no negative marking. But no negative marking का मतलब ये नहीं है that you'll start marking guesses in Q and LR. Rather, I would say this no negative marking is useful for only these two sections of English proficiency and general awareness, because there you might have a confusion in some of the options. In Q and LR, I think this no negative marking should never be there in our mind. यहाँ तो I would always want to do all my 30 questions. I'll try to maximize my score over here. तो यहाँ पे ये सोच लेना कि no negative marking is, let us do some guesswork. Probably this is the worst approach. The best approach is try to maximize your score in Q and LR by solving all the questions, and after that go for English proficiency. General awareness is one section which would not take much time to solve. You either know it or you don't know it. You just keep on marking the answers. It hardly takes probably 10 to 15 minutes to do 40 questions, and the questions that you don't know, you can always guess over there. The same thing can be done in English, but not in Q and LR. I would strictly say that that should not be done by any one of you. As I just said, 100 questions are there. For each questions they give you a minute, so you are given a total of 100 minutes to do the section completely. Okay. Hello Shahrukh Ahmed Siddiqui. Topics like stats, PNC, which we can focus on, sir, aiming to score 27 plus. Okay, good evening Bosa 143. Good evening everyone. Now we will be talking about that your question, Shahrukh, sorry, me and my backpack, whatever your name is. But when I talk about the last year's cutoff, normally the cutoff of TISS have been somewhere around 74, 75 every year. But last year the cutoff was around 68, and it was primarily because this section became a bit difficult. As I said, normally the cutoffs in TISS are decided by the general awareness section, because most of the students score well over here. Most of the students score well over here. This is where the real challenge is. This is where the real competition is, how well you can score over here. I mean, if you are very good at QA and LR, you can probably score 30 out of 30. ठीक है, or at least 27, 28, as someone said कि मैं 27 plus aim कर रहा हूँ, तो 27, 28 can be scored. If you are very good at English proficiency as well, still I would say in some questions would have some subjectivity. So अगर मैं यहाँ पे 27 भी score कर लेता हूँ, English में 30 में से I think you can just guarantee of something like 21, 22. So that makes a score of 48, 49. You have to have a score of 20 plus in general awareness. If you are pretty good at these two sections, still I would say you have to score something like 20 plus in the general awareness section, and that makes it the most important section over there. ठीक है, इसीलिए जनरल अवेयरनेस आपके लिए सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है. ऑफ कोर्स आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट द अदर सेक्शंस आर नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट. ऑफ कोर्स आई एम सेइंग दिस 20 प्लस इज देयर ओनली इफ यू आर गुड एट अदर टू. व्हाट इफ यू आर नॉट गुड एट अदर टू? तो 40 तो ला ही नहीं सकते ना जनरल अवेयरनेस में, है ना. 40 आउट ऑफ 40 लिया होगा तो वहां पे 28 स्कोर करना पड़ेगा तब भी, right? So even if you're god of general awareness and you have scored 38, 40 score, तब भी वहां पे 28 का स्कोर चाहिए, which is not less. आसान नहीं है उतना लाना 28 का स्कोर, right? So that is about the TISSNET exam. Okay, yes, helpful for GA and verbal sections. What is the difficulty level of QA and LR in TISSNET with respect to CAT? Extremely easy, I would say, Amit Chauhan. अगर आप compare कर रहे हो CAT से, so probably if I rate CAT as 10 on difficulty level out of nothing, ठीक है? If I rate CAT as 10, अगर मैं उसको reference मान लूँ, so the difficulty level of TISSNET I think would be somewhere around 3 to 4. Right, so that easy it is. Rather, it is not comparable with CAT, it is comparable with some other exams, which I'll be telling you in the next page. Now, I gave TISSNET last year GK, I scored 31, but in QA I scored 11. As I just said, even if you are pretty good at GK, still it does not mean you are going to do it, because QA and LR English proficiency both are important over here. Okay, chaliye. Now, when I move forward about, let's talk about the section this year. Okay, the section that we have to talk about. 68 is the cutoff that is there in my mind. If I am a student and I am writing TISSNET exam, what should I be aiming for? This is what I'm writing on this screen. The first thing, how was the section last year? If you look at the TISSNET section of Q and LR last year, it is arithmetic heavy. This is the common feature of all the management entrance tests. Right? You would have seen that whether you talk about CAT, ZET, IFT, NMAT, CMAT, MAT, CET or whatever, you will always see arithmetic is the portion which is having the maximum percentage of questions in QA. And this year also with 99.9% surety, I can say in TISSNET, you will have maximum arithmetic level questions, right? What kind of questions? Right? Arithmetic तो ज़्यादा आता है, लेकिन किस तरह के questions आते हैं? I will be discussing those in the next slide as well. But here I'm just telling you that arithmetic would be heavy. And arithmetic, that means what? That means percentages, profit, loss and discount, averages, time, speed and distance. So topic wise, it is the same thing every year. These are the same topics. You just have to do the basics of these topics. Now, these questions would not be of CAT or ZET or IFT standard. The questions would be smaller in length. The questions would be easy to do, right? They would never ask you very lengthy or very difficult questions, because of course, the time limit is also there. You have 100 questions in 100 minutes. That is one question per minute. Whereas in CAT, you have 66 questions in 120 minutes. That is approximately 1.8 minutes for a question, right? In ZET, it is 165 minutes for 75 questions or 76 questions. तो यहाँ पे क्योंकि वो टाइम कम है, तो ज्यादा लेंथी क्वेश्चन और डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन देना नहीं बनता है. But yes, this is an important part over here. I would say this again can be a game changer as far as QA and LR is concerned. PNC, probability and statistics, these are the areas which generally we forget or we don't do, right? Because in the other exams, especially in CAT, you won't find many questions from PNC probability, hardly one in a year, right? Whereas statistics पे तो आज तक question उन्होंने पूछा ही नहीं है. So here, last year there was one question on stats. So do not think that too much of stats would be there. So now we have to run for stats. No, there was only one question last year on statistics. The question was a simple question about mean, median, standard deviation and variation. So ये सारी चीजें आपने पढ़ी हुई हैं. Variance, sorry. I hope you remember that. एक variance होता था जो हम लोग ऐसे कुछ करके बनाते थे. There was a standard deviation as well, right? And there was a mean as well, mean, median, mode. So the things that you have done in statistics in the very first class of statistics, those things can be asked to you here in statistics. So you just know, you should have the basic knowledge of statistics. As someone was saying कि stats मुझे कितना पढ़ना चाहिए if I'm looking for a score of 27 plus, I would say कि जब आपने पहली बार स्टैट्स पढ़ा था, वो या 9th में या 10th में जहां भी आया था, तो स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन, वेरिएंस वगैरह वहां पर आए थे. जस्ट रीड अबाउट दोस थिंग्स. आई थिंक दैट शुड बी सफिशिएंट फॉर यू. ओके. Then there was one set from DI as well. That was a set based upon straight table. A table was given to you on which some questions were asked. And this was like again a simple DI question as we do in our basic classes of DI, from where we start with DI. ठीक है, जब शुरुआत करते हैं. सो व्हाट इज द परसेंटेज ग्रोथ फ्रॉम दिस नंबर टू दिस नंबर, व्हाट इज द एवरेज ऑफ दीज नंबर्स, व्हाट इज द रेशियो ऑफ द सेल्स ऑफ यूनिट्स ऑफ टीवी इन दिस ईयर टू दिस ईयर. सो दोस काइंड ऑफ इजी क्वेश्चंस, सिंपल क्वेश्चंस, बेसिक डीआई बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस. दो इट कैन बी अ पाई चार्ट, इट कैन बी अ टेबल, इट कैन बी एनीथिंग, बट दोस वुड बी बेसिक. There were 6 questions from reasoning as well, out of which 3 questions were from number series. There were questions from clocks, there were questions from direction sense, question from calendars. So you would look at these topics. Reasoning ये एक area है which is completely non-CAT. ठीक है. So directions based questions, blood relations based questions, or coding decoding based questions, number series based questions, figures based questions, these are the kind of questions that you would be seeing in reasoning here. I would say this is more or less like a snap or a CMAT exam. As someone asked abhi कि सर कैट का और इसका एलआर कितना डिफरेंट होता है एक दूसरे से, दिस इज द आंसर टू योर क्वेश्चन दैट व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट द एलआर ऑफ टिसनेट, राइट, the questions are based upon directions, blood relations, coding decoding. ये सारे आपने देखे होंगे स्नैप सीमैट में आते हैं, they never appear in cat. कैट में तो कभी आते ही नहीं इस तरह क्वेश्चंस. So this is more like snap CMAT. So if you are writing some mocks of snap and CMAT, I would say that you are also preparing for TISSNET. हाँ, general awareness is one area that you have to take care of. उसके बारे में आपको थोड़ा सा सोचना पड़ेगा because वो important हो जाता है. There is no cutoff other than GK, Rakhi Sharma says. That's absolutely correct, Rakhi Sharma. So let me just tell you about this. That when I talk about English, there is no cutoff. When I talk about QA, there is no cutoff. And as far as general awareness is concerned, the last year cutoff was 14. So it was 35% of the marks allotted to GA. 14 was for the general candidates and 12 was for the SC/ST candidates. So this was the cutoff for last year. There is no cutoff for any other section apart from general awareness. And of course, my feeling is, unless you have at least 14 in GA, anyways, you are not going to clear the overall cutoff, isn't it? भाई टोटल आप बाकी पेपर 60 मार्क्स का है, कितना ले आओगे 60 में से? 50 to 53 बहुत बढ़िया हो तो, राइट? 50 to 53 लाने के बाद भी you have to score 16-17 in GA to get an overall cutoff cleared, right? तो वो अपने आप ही आ जाएगा मेरे ख्याल से. तो अब ऐसा तो रेयरली वुड बी देयर कि जो 60 आउट ऑफ 60 लिया है और उधर 60 बाकी जो है जीए में उसका 8 भी स्कोर ना है. In that case, that guy would not be able to clear the overall cutoff. So I feel that this is not a cutoff that we should have it in our mind कि नहीं मेरे को cutoff तो clear करनी है. If you are clearing the overall cutoff, you will automatically clear this sectional cutoff. And if you are not clearing the overall cutoff, then it doesn't make a sense whether you clear it or not. Right? Just don't have it in mind कि इसका cutoff है कि नहीं है. मेरे ख्याल से important है कि नहीं. What about questions from number system? Abhishek, there were no questions from number system. There were questions based upon numbers. जैसे digit based questions होते हैं ना कई बार. There is a 4-digit number. When you multiply this by 3, this occurs. This last digit is 2. What can be the last digit of this number? अब इसको number system based क्या ही बोलोगे? These kind of questions have appeared in TISSNET. Is NCERT good enough for brushing up stats, PNC probability? Absolutely, absolutely. एनसीईआरटी की बुक उठा लो, जब आपके पास स्टैट्स आया था जहां स्टैंडर्ड वेरिएशन वेरिएंस वगैरह आ गए थे, जस्ट रीड दोस, look at their definitions, look at whatever properties are there, that should be sufficient for you. For PNC probability as well, it is the basic kind of questions. जैसे ऐसे question, A can clear the interview, the probability is 1/4. B can clear the interview, the probability is 2/5. What is the probability that at least one of them can clear the interview? We have been doing such questions. अगर आपने probability पढ़ा है अच्छे से तो आपने क्वेश्चंस पक्का ही किए होंगे. These are the basic questions on that. What should be the strategy to prepare for TISSNET considering someone who is already preparing for CAT? Amit Chauhan, as I just said, focus upon general awareness. If you are already preparing for CAT, so apart from CAT, एक तो reasoning ऐसी चीज है that you have to pay attention to. Apart from that, general awareness is the key factor. वहीं पे सब कुछ आता है, वहीं से कट ऑफ क्लियर होती है, वहीं से नहीं होती है. दिस इज व्हाट यू हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ. लास्ट ईयर पेपर क्वेश्चन रिपीट होते हैं? हार्डली एनी वासुदेव, मेरे ख्याल से नहीं होंगे, ऐसा चांसेस बहुत ही कम है ऐसा होने. ओके, एंड दिस इज व्हाट माय फीलिंग इज दैट फॉर ए गुड पर्सन हु फील्स दैट आई एम गुड एट क्वांटिटेटिव एप्टीट्यूड और एन एवरेज गाय, आई वुड से, आपको अगर कैट के हिसाब से लगता रहा है कि मैं एक एवरेज सा बंदा हूं कैट के हिसाब से, कैट में यू स्कोर लेट अस से समवेयर अराउंड 75-80 परसेंटाइल इन क्यूए, स्टिल यू कैन एम फॉर अ स्कोर ऑफ 23 to 25 इन 40 to 45 मिनट्स. एंड यू माइट से कि सर इसमें तो बहुत ज्यादा टाइम लग जाएगा, बाकी चीजों के लिए कहां टाइम बचेगा. सो लेट मी टेल यू, इन जनरल अवेयरनेस यू कैन डू 40 क्वेश्चंस इन मैक्सिमम 15 मिनट्स. So even if you spend 45 minutes over here, 15 minutes आपके चले जाते हैं वहां पे, you are left with 40 minutes for 30 questions of verbal ability. And I think in 40 questions, 30 questions in verbal ability can be done easily. So this is what a score a person should consider as a good score, if of course he is doing good in general awareness. ठीक है, हाँ, otherwise 27 से 28 मैं बोलूंगा ये स्कोर डेफिनेटली गेटेबल है, क्योंकि 30 के 30 करोगे, एक या दो क्वेश्चंस में गलती हो सकती है. आफ्टर दैट यू माइट लैंड अप विद अ स्कोर ऑफ 27-28. दिस इज अ ब्रिलियंट स्कोर which can be achieved with minimal efforts because the section is not that difficult. तो simply भी आप करोगे तो 27-28 का स्कोर ले आओगे. So for a good guy I would say you should aim for 27-28. For an average guy the score should be 23-25. An average guy has to do better in general awareness than a good guy who is good at Q&LR, good at English but not that good at GA. Probably 27-28 यहाँ टारगेट करो, around 22-23 English में टारगेट करो, and after that you can just score around 20-21 in GA and you can clear the cutoff of TISSNET. I think that should be the best strategy of a man. These are the topics that you have to take care of. In GK, static GK is there, Rakhi Sharma. If I talk about last year, out of 40 questions, somewhere around 17-18 questions were from current affairs. The remaining questions were all static GK. So static GK भी वो आपसे काफी सारी पूछते हैं. You have to pay attention to that. स्नैप लेवल इंग्लिश आता है तो 10 मिनट में इंग्लिश क्लियर हो जाएगा. स्नैप लेवल नहीं आएगा अभिषेक, थोड़ा सा बेहतर उससे आप मान लीजिए. हाँ, मतलब कैट लेवल भी नहीं आएगा, उनके कहीं बीच में. व्हाट इफ क्वांट्स इज वेरी बैड, आदित्य कुमार, क्वांट्स इज वेरी बैड, दैट मींस फॉर टिसनेट the kind of quant they ask you, that still can be improved in the coming days. The exam is on 26th of February, so you still have 37 days for that. In these 37 days I am absolutely sure that you can clear that. इतना तो आप कर सकते हैं, मेरा अंदाजा ये. Sir, how to do static GK main topic? Rakhi Sharma, I think for GK you can attend our other lectures as well, जिसमें GK वाले टीचर जो है सलील सर, he would be teaching you. You can ask this question to them because he would be the best person to answer for that, कि आपको कहाँ से improve करना है. In my opinion I would say just go to internet, try to find out the previous year papers of TISSNET, last 2-3 years के उठा के देख लीजिए, and see what are the topics on which they are asking you questions from, right? और एक बार topics देखने के बाद just go for those, और वो एक बार पढ़ लीजिए आप. मेरे ख्याल से that should be sufficient. There are no, I have no idea for that, Rakhi Sharma, because I'm a quant faculty, though of course I look at the other topics as well, but इतना deeply नहीं देख पाता हूँ that what are the major topics of static GK, वो थोड़ा सा difficult होता है. Okay, so that was all guys. I hope that you would have got an idea about this Q&LR, and now some of the questions from last year, and these are the actual questions that have appeared in TISSNET. Just have a look at these. First question, the percentage increase in area of rectangle when each side is increased by quarter of its length, that is 25%. तो दोनों को 25% से बढ़ा दोगे, verbally you can do it, it is 56.25%, right? एरिया में यही होता है. सक्सेसिव इंक्रीज लगेगा 25 का, you will get the answer. The number of age in which Aman, Anaya, Danish and Nero can stand in a straight line such that Danish comes between Aman and Anaya and Nero does not come between Aman and Anaya. Looking at the options, I would say कि मैं तो बना लूंगा इसको. अच्छा, अमन यहाँ, अनाया यहाँ, अमन यहाँ, अनाया यहाँ, अमन यहाँ, अनाया यहाँ, तो किस किस केस में इसके बीच में नहीं आना चाहिए, केस एलिमिनेट हो गया, ऐसा करके. It doesn't take much of time. A rhombus and a kite both do not have. तो क्या खास बात है rhombus और kite में? How much time does it take? 15-20 seconds. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. Abhay can complete a work in 18 days, Balram in 20 days, Chandan in 30 days. Balram and Chandan started and but were forced to leave after 2 days. Then Abhay alone would complete the remaining work in how many days? Looking at these questions, probably you yourself can determine, है ना, कि क्या, एक सेकंड मैं खुद को हटा देता हूं यहां से. You yourself can determine that how difficult these questions are. These are pretty easy questions, simple questions, basics, बिल्कुल सीधे सीधे उसी पे based है, so not that difficult. Okay. Similarly, if I look at the next few questions, it's a question from TSD. 2 guns were fired from the same place. It's a difficult question, I would say, but this is a question which you might have done before. It's a very common question. If you have prepared for TSD, somehow you must have encountered this question. और अगर आपने पहले से किया हुआ है तो it's a half a minute question for you. नहीं किया है, then it might take a lot of time. A positive integer when divided by q leaves a remainder of 21. When double that number divided by q, what is the remainder? ठीक है, remainder is 13. What is q? So again, a basic level question. Whenever you have started remainders, you would have done this question, I suppose. The least number of complete years in which sum of money will be more than doubled at 10% compound interest. Okay. दिस ऑल्सो यू वुड हैव डन दैट रूल ऑफ 72/r की 72/r की रेट से जो है पैसा डबल होता है. 72/r इज 7.2, तो इसका मतलब कम से कम 8 साल में पैसा आपका डबल होगा. इट्स अ रूल. आई होप यू ऑल वुड बी नोइंग दैट इन केस ऑफ कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट 72/r years में योर मनी गेट्स डबल्ड. The product of two numbers is 45 and the difference is 4. What is the sum of the squares of these two numbers? It is very clear. 9 and 5 are the numbers. वैसे ही दिख रहे. 45 देखते ही 9 5 से दिमाग में आता है और वही difference 4 है. उनके squares का sum आपसे पूछ रहा है. So how difficult the question is. So if you are good at QA, I think you would not even take 45 minutes to do these questions. है ना? These were some of the questions based upon logical reasoning last year. The missing number in the following table is 64. हमें दिख रहा है 4 का क्यूब है और ये 10 का क्यूब है. ये 6 का क्यूब है, ये 12 का क्यूब है, ये 8 का क्यूब है, ये पक्का 14 का क्यूब होगा. तो इससे कुछ आइडिया मिल जाता है. प्रोबेबली देयर इज समथिंग आई मीन विच इज रिलेटेड टू देम. तो ये 4096 का कोई तो रिलेशन इसके साथ होगा, है ना. वो सारी चीजें हम लोग अंदाजे से निकाल लेंगे क्या कहना चाह रहा है क्या नहीं. Ranbir's office has two doors facing each other. The front door faces east. He comes out of his office. It's a question which was based upon directions. The coefficient of variation can be measured by. So as I said, these are the things that you must have studied in your first class of statistics. है ना. Standard deviation क्या होता है, mean क्या होता है, variance क्या होता है, quartile deviation क्या होता है. These are the things that we did in our very first class. So these are the kind of questions that they have asked you from reasoning. Okay. Basic questions है सारे के सारे अगर आप ध्यान से देखें तो. Complete the following series of numbers 626, 126, 626, and after that this was a set of DIs in which this table was given. Questions were like, in which state is the ratio of agriculture to non-agriculture overdues is highest among the selected states. ठीक है. तो यहाँ पे agriculture to non-agriculture इसका ratio highest कहाँ पर है ये आपसे पूछ रहा है. So there were 4 questions based upon this data set, and these were the kind of questions that were asked to you. So that was just to give you an idea about the kind of questions that would be asked to you in TISSNET. I hope you would have got it now. मतलब कुछ idea definitely आपको लग गया होगा. Of course, I am not going to solve these questions here. That does not make any sense. Anyways, these are extremely easy. All of you can do it faster than me. वो पर्पस नहीं है. पर्पस ये है कि आप ये देख ले एक बार कि टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस किस तरह के हैं. सो इन माय ओपिनियन फॉर एन एवरेज गाय हु फील्स आई एम नॉट दैट गुड एट क्वांट, a target score would be somewhere around 24-25 in around 40-45 minutes. For a good guy who is good at quant, always target 30. ठीक है. You can do that. पूरा 30 में से 30 लाया जा सकता है within 40-45 minutes. Target that. Go to verbal section, score there. After that, feel free that okay, general awareness में मुझे ज़्यादा नहीं करना है. So whatever I do now, I can easily clear the cutoff and I can clear the overall cutoff as well. Okay. So that was all about the section, guys. That's all from my side. I hope you would have got an idea about this section. That was important. If you got it, please like the session. That is important for us as well. And now here on the screen, for all the people who are preparing for the second stage of CAT now, so we have this batch where we prepare for GDPI, right? So Gautam sir, who is an IIM Calcutta alumni, Srinivas sir, who is an IIM Indore alumni, they would be preparing you for all these things which are there on the screen. Also for people who are preparing for CAT 2022, we are running a batch for that as well. And please like the session, comment on it, share it with more and more people, and subscribe to BYJU'S exam prep channel, because we will keep bringing such sessions to you. I hope this would have been a useful session, and such more sessions you can attend later on as well. So that's all from my side, guys. Thank you very much. Very good night to all of you, and see you soon in the next session. Till then, bye bye. Take care.